Hi. Today we want to share with you just a few points that we have gained over our 52 years of marriage about how to fight fair. I'm Francis.
And I'm Sue.
We've been married for 52 years. We have 6 children and 13 grandchildren and more on the way.
So you've learned a little bit about fighting fair over the years.
Yeah, yes. I'm guilty of charge.
So I love that you guys have put together a list of tips on how to fight fair. I know it's a long list, so I know we don't have time to go over all of it, but I was hoping you might share the top 3 today. So what is the first one?
You have to listen to the other person.
Yeah, and listening means not only just letting it sink in and then not being processed. You have to really think about what they're talking about, because unless you get through all the baloney that is part of the deal of communication, that you won't get anywhere. You have to really find out what the person is really trying to say, even though they may not be saying it in the words that are quite clear to you.
So, Dad, do you remember a gentleman, I think his name was Fran Costco?
Close enough.
You used to work for?
Yeah, right.
Back when I was a teenager. And I remember you two, Kosovac, that was his name.
No, that wasn't that, but it doesn't matter who it is.
I remember watching you two at a party talking. And he was so intent on what you were saying. He didn't speak and he just let you talk. Is that what you're talking about?
I think I think you have to give the person a chance to really get their thoughts and feelings out, because if you don't and you butt in, you may miss the most important parts.
Wow. So while you're listening, what if you get really peeved about something they're saying? I know that kind of touches on your second tip.
Well, you got to control your emotions and your anger.
Why is that?
Because it's sometimes too easy to fly off the handle, and then you've totally lost what the message is. And once you get angry, and once you decide to start screaming back and forth at each other, the whole thing just goes to pieces, and you don't have any communication taking place any longer. The emotions are so destructive. They can be so destructive that by controlling your anger, by not threatening the other person, because that's what anger does, threatens the other person. If you control your anger, then the other person would feel more reasonable, more willing to be vulnerable. They're not going to be vulnerable if you're going to be angry and they're going to have to throw up some shield to protect themselves.
Got it. So I know that you've also mentioned communication with each other, and this is true, I would assume, in life in general versus not just marriage, that communication is about figuring out what's right and not necessarily who is right.
You're right. It's not who is right.
It's about coming to what the kernel of the issue is really about, and chewing on that problem and seeing what kind of a solution we can mutually come up with that will help us grow closer together as a couple. And if you're after, I've got to win this battle because he won the last 2.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Then you're not going to get very far in your communication with each other. You have to have that vulnerability. You have to have that humility to be willing really to listen and to concentrate on what the other person is saying.
Yeah. So thank you for sharing just these 3 simple tips on how to fight fair. I know that you have a lot more.
Yes.
And I know that you really want to share them.
We'd like to.
Yeah, I know your hearts are to see people really have full, long-lasting marriages like yours. So I know that you're willing to email a full list to everybody.
Can you see us?
Yeah, but I can't see you.
So
everybody, if you will email Mom and Dad at Francis&Sue on 52 at gmail.com. They will send you their full list of tips on how to fight fair in marriage. Thanks, Mom and Dad.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
God bless y'all. Bye-bye.